You're listening to Unhooked. On today's episode, 6 simple tips to successfully navigate your first 30 days porn-free. These are the 6 things that I would do if I were going back to day 1 and starting my recovery journey all over again. So, stay tuned.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Lipkowitz, and with over 12 years of meditation experience as a mindfulness trainer and coach for high performers, I've become obsessed with helping people break free from compulsive, unhealthy behaviors and addictions and step into a life of true freedom so that they can finally become their best selves and cultivate deeper and lasting fulfillment. I've created Unhooked, the Breaking Porn Addiction podcast, to give you simple, actionable, step-by-step strategies to master your mind and optimize your life. This is Unhooked. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Unhooked. I am your host, Jeremy Lipkowitz. It's another gray day here in Amsterdam, but it's a beautiful day because it's another day that I am alive and getting the chance to connect with friends and do work that I find meaningful in the world. And I hope that you are having a wonderful day as well, wherever you are. I hope that despite the weather, despite anything negative going on in your life, that you're also able to appreciate the beauty and the opportunity that you might have in front of you. It's another 24 hours to make a change, to move your life in the right direction. And today I want to talk about one of those moves that you might want to make. And this is for those of you who are just on the cusp, on the verge of breaking free from porn, and you have decided that you want to embark on your first 30 days of being porn free. So this might be for those of you who are just getting introduced to the concept of porn recovery, of no-fap, whatever you want to call it. Or it might be for those of you who have been kind of in and out of your recovery. Maybe you have had a couple days or a couple weeks of success, but you are ready for nailing your first 30 days and really committing to this practice of recovery and getting this substance that is so harmful in so many ways out of your life. You know, one of the things that I mention on this podcast is I am not against porn in principle. This isn't to say that porn is an evil or vile substance, but for so many of us, I would argue 99% of us, if not 99.9%, porn just has so many negatives and not enough positives to make it worth it. So for those of you who are feeling ready to take on the call of recovery, what I want to talk about today is 6 simple tips that will help you really crush these first 30 days. You know, what are the 6 things that I would recommend doing in your first 30 days to make sure that you're successful? These are the things that if I had to start over, if I had to go back and start from day 1, these are the 6 things that I would make sure to do in my life to make sure that I'm successful. So without further ado, let's dive in with number 1. The first thing is to set clear goals and define your motivation. So before starting your journey of recovery, before embarking on this 30 days, take some time to reflect on why you want to quit watching porn. Is it to improve your mental health, to strengthen your relationships, to take back control of your mind, to focus more on meaningful pursuits and hobbies? Define your motivation and then set clear goals for yourself. Having a strong purpose and clear objectives is going to help you stay focused and committed during the challenging moments, because it's going to be challenging. There are going to be moments in these 30 days that test your patience, they test your determination, they test your discipline. And so having these clear objectives, these clear goals, having a strong purpose and motivation is going to help you. And this is particularly true for defining your motivation, the why for why you want to quit. This is what gives the juice to your recovery. It's the emotional fire behind the decision that is going to keep you going, and it's going to give you the fuel for your recovery. If you just think, okay, I want to quit watching porn because somebody else said it's helpful, but I'm not really sure why I want to do it, you're not going to last when it gets difficult. So on this step, understanding, okay, what is this? What are the consequences of watching porn? What is this harming in my life? What is it taking away from me? Or if I can quit, if I am successful, what is this going to bring to my life? What new joys or abilities or opportunities is this going to bring if I can successfully quit? So that is number one, to set clear goals and define your motivation. Tip number two is about creating a support and accountability network. So building a support network is vital when attempting to overcome any addiction, because addiction is incredibly challenging. It's something that even when we know we want to break free from it, we might feel powerless. We might get sucked back into it. And so surrounding yourself with people who can provide encouragement and guidance, and most importantly, accountability, with understanding people, non-judgmental people who are going to encourage you, but at the same time, give you that hard accountability. So this network, it can include friends, family members, support groups, online communities, a coach, any place where you can openly discuss your challenges, openly discuss what you're actually going through, what you're struggling with, and you can celebrate your progress as well. Now, a note on this, for the accountability, I say this all the time, but friends and family and loved ones almost never work for real accountability. And this is because friends and family and loved ones, they can't risk the relationship by calling you out on your bullshit. They can't risk the relationship by asking you those uncomfortable questions or shining a light on that behavior that you're trying to avoid. Sometimes they can, but more often than not, it's easier for them to be kind and compassionate and understanding, and not necessarily to hold up that mirror that you need. So this is where something like a recovery group, an online community, a coach, a therapist, that's where that professional support of accountability really comes in handy. And accountability, it's one of the most effective ways to be successful in your recovery. And I would say it's also one of the biggest missing ingredients for people who end up failing at their recovery. So this is tip number two, make sure that you create a support and accountability network for yourself. Tip number three is to identify and avoid triggers. So recognizing that triggers that lead you toward pornography, understanding what those triggers are, where they come about, and identifying them and avoiding them is crucial for your success. And so for this, you're going to want to do some exploratory work to take note of what are the situations, the emotions, the environments that push you in the direction of wanting to act out with porn. And this is such an important step because we know now through decades of research and scientific studies that stimulus control is more important than self-control, particularly when it comes to cultivating healthy habits and avoiding bad habits. So stimulus control, meaning the triggers, the stimuli that you find in your environment, is more important than how much self-control or willpower you have. This is why in recovery, we don't focus so much on, just, willpower, white knuckle, just be stronger. It's important to look at your environment, understanding how your environment plays into your addiction. So the environment you surround yourself with and how many triggers there are around you will in large part determine how successful you are with your recovery. So once you identify your triggers, you can develop strategies to avoid and minimize your exposure to them. So it might involve changing your routine, blocking access to certain content, or finding healthier activities to engage in when temptation strikes. So some common triggers for men with porn addiction, social media, whether it's photos or videos, women in bikinis or, whatever it is, social media is often a trigger. Certain environments or situations like gyms, nightclubs, places where you might see women in scantily clad outfits. Another trigger is alcohol or getting drunk can be a trigger for people acting out. And then also emotional distress, boredom, stress, anxiety, depression. Any emotion that you want to escape from can be a trigger to act out. So that is the third tip, is to identify what are your triggers and then take steps to avoid those triggers and avoid, anything that makes it easy or more likely for you to act out, avoiding the scenarios where it's easy. If you are always looking at porn in your office, you might want to have a rule that you never put your computer in your office, or maybe you take your desk and your chair out of the office, so it's only a place you can take a phone call. Whatever it is, finding ways to remove your triggers and also make it more difficult to get triggered and also to act out. And that leads me to tip number 4, which is to adopt healthy coping mechanisms. So one reason addiction persists in any form is because it serves as a coping mechanism for stress or anxiety or boredom or any difficult emotion. So in order to break free from addiction, we have to learn how to replace this coping mechanism with healthier alternatives, with ways of managing stress or anxiety or boredom in healthier ways. So this might be to engage in activities that bring you joy. It might be exercising or pursuing hobbies, spending quality time with friends or loved ones, engaging in arts and crafts or music, things that bring you happiness, things that bring you stress relief, looking into healthier coping mechanisms. You will need to discover positive outlets for stress relief so that you can combat the urge to turn to pornography. You need coping mechanisms because stress, anxiety, boredom are going to exist. And if the only coping mechanism you have is addiction, that's what you're going to turn to. This is something, again, I've mentioned this in previous episodes. Any addiction, it's a response to unwanted pain and suffering. It's the attempt to escape the pain. So if you don't have ways of dealing with that pain, you will turn to addiction. So this is so critical for long-term recovery in particular. Now, number 5, the 5th tip for navigating your first 30 days. Again, particularly if this is, you're starting out with recovery and this is your first 30 days, to practice self-care, to really take care of yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally, to prioritize activities that maintain your wellness, regular exercise, eating a healthy diet, getting enough sleep, practicing stress reduction techniques like meditation and mindfulness. If you nurture your well-being, what you do is you're creating a foundation of strength and resilience that supports you on your journey. And on the contrary, if you neglect your well-being, if you don't exercise, if you don't eat well, if you don't sleep well, you will feel like shit. And you will need to turn to things like porn and junk food and TV to escape those feelings. And that leads to a vicious cycle. So practicing self-care, starting with the foundations, exercise, proper nutrition, and sleep. And then on top of that, self-care also looks like practicing self-compassion, being kind to yourself, knowing that there might be times where you slip up in these 30 days. And that's okay. It's okay to slip up as long as you get back on track. So self-care, it's about taking care of your emotional, mental, and physical well-being, and also being kind to yourself, treating yourself the way you would treat a friend. So that is tip number 5, practice self-care, be kind to yourself, and take care of the foundations of your well-being. Finally, tip number 6 for your first 30 days, to celebrate milestones and reward yourself, congratulate yourself. So what this is acknowledging and celebrating the progress that you are making along the way. each milestone that you hit, whether it's one day or 1 week or just one moment of noticing an urge and not giving into it, these all deserve recognition. So celebrate your accomplishments. What this does is it reinforces positive behavior. It will motivate you to continue on your path. Now, importantly here, it's helpful to find the practice of recovery, of discipline, of self-mastery intrinsically rewarding. So rather than treating yourself to something extrinsic like an ice cream or a new watch for your recovery efforts, which has been shown to actually backfire, instead let the discipline be the reward itself. Let the act of becoming the type of man you want to be the reward. And then to celebrate when you're staying in alignment with those goals. When you are disciplined, when you maintain your morning routine, when you maintain your meditation goals, when you notice an urge without giving into it, to celebrate that and let that be the reward. Yes, I am becoming the type of man that I aspire to be. So the knowledge that you are putting effort into something meaningful and worthwhile is a reward in itself, and you can celebrate those milestones. So in summary here, embarking on a porn-free journey, it requires dedication and perseverance and a supportive and compassionate mindset. And if you implement these 6 simple tips, setting clear goals, creating a support network, identifying and avoiding your triggers, adopting healthy coping mechanisms, practicing self-care, and celebrating your milestones along the way, you will successfully navigate your first 30 days. It will, give your recovery effort the boost that it needs. It gives it the proper structure and framework to follow to make sure that you will be successful. So remember, as always, progress will not be linear. It will be ups and downs. There will be moments where you're feeling great about it. There will be moments of doubt and insecurity. You might have some slip-ups, but to not let one slip-up derail you, and to not let the non-linear path of recovery derail you either. Remember of progress rather than perfection. Don't worry about being perfect. Just make progress. Move yourself in the right direction. And, this is kind of like the 80-20 rule. It's just make sure that 80% of the time you're doing the right things, and 20% of the time it's okay, if you're not perfect. So with determination, with commitment, you can reclaim control over your life, and you can experience the freedom and fulfillment that you deserve. So if you follow this 6 simple tips, it will help you successfully navigate those first 30 days. And that will provide the foundation for your first 90 days, for your first year, for your first 2 years, and into a life that is free from addiction. So that is it for today. I hope you have enjoyed these 6 simple tips. Again, these are the tips, the things that I would do personally if I were to start again on day 1. Each one of these, setting those clear goals, creating a support and accountability network, identifying and avoiding your triggers, adopting healthier coping mechanisms, practicing self-care, and then celebrating yourself along the way. That is what I would recommend, and that is what is going to help you be successful. If you want to support this podcast, please take the 30 seconds of your life to leave a review. Go down, you scroll down to the bottom, hit that star button, and then write a comment and let people know what you are getting out of this, what you are enjoying from this podcast. It helps me, it helps the podcast. It really does go a long way. So if you want to, say your thanks to me, that is the way to do it. Leave a review. And with that, signing off from Amsterdam, much love, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.